let's start with the beef. Clickbait cart was at it again last night. Let's read the caption word for word, actually. I want to make sure I don't misquote you here. Carter Elliott took a segment from yesterday where we were doing one Final Four team from each conference. Who's the team most likely to make the Final Four? And even in the clip, you can see we spend like 30 seconds being like, it's obviously Duke. But me being the decent host that I am, tried to prod something out of us and basically said, if it's not Duke, like, what are the other options even? That led Carter to saying he's buying North Carolina stock. He thinks they'll be better than a lot of people expect. One of his big reasons was Elliot Cadeau. I just jumped in. I don't think I was overly harsh, but I just jumped in and said, are we sure he's good? Because I get concerned with reclassifying point guards. And Carter slammed me shut, asserted that, yes, we're good. It's absolutely no-brainer. Elliot Cadeau is going to be a great college basketball player. I didn't really even push back on that. I like Elliot Cadeau. I think his game's really good. But after seeing this clip get some traction last night, Elliot Cadeau's mother made her way into our mentions and wasn't overly happy with us.
Quickly, might I add.
Very quickly. The caption you put out said Elliot Cadeau could end up being the best passer in the country. That's the caption. Like, where it's a caption in a clip of you praising Elliot Cadeau, just with like 3 seconds of me sprinkling in, are we sure? Not even disagreeing with you, just saying, are we sure? And I'm trying to find her response here, but right now a lot of people have responded. Oh yeah, here she is. Michelle Cadeau at the Cadeaus. Apparently she's already looking for a Hulu deal. Says, I don't think reclass point guards work ever. Just leaving this here to show this ages. She meant see how this ages, but I don't know. I don't know if she's a North Carolina grad or what. Fake classes may have been a thing in her history. Keeping up with the Cadeaus here. What do you make of this? Is she right? Is Elliot Cadeau's mother right to be upset with us for calling her son the best passing point guard in the country?
No. And we talked about this on previous podcast episodes. The level and involvement that these parents have on social media to defend their kids is crazy to me, especially when their kids aren't even getting slandered. I referenced this. One of the best boxers of all time, one of the current best boxers, Bud Crawford, his mother used to pay people to beat his son's ass. And she didn't say she loved him until like a year ago. And he's almost 40. That's the type of parenting that breeds greatness, not seeking out hate. That's what really kills me. Not everyone is going to have a positive opinion of you, whether it be in life, whether it be in sports, whether it be in anything. I personally, if I was in college and I was like a big Division I basketball player, I would hate if my mother was online just defending me and going at people that she didn't know. That's just not what I would want to do. And also, I don't know if she actually listened to the clip, because if she did listen to the clip, she would hear the good things we had to say about her son, but she would also hear the doubts we have, the very real doubts, because of the reclassifying point guard situation that you brought up. So I don't know. I just rather not have my mother online searching my last name and seeking out to defend me all the time. It's weird to me.
She has to have listened to the clip, because if she just read the caption, she would have just retweeted it thinking we were fully praising her son. So she definitely.
She just put on the blockers then and only heard the bad.
Maybe she flipped it off after I said, are we sure he's good? Okay, a couple things. I agree with you. It's not how I would parent, and it's not how I would want my parent to be. But parents are parents. They're going to do what they want. I don't have a problem with this at all. In fact, I welcome any parent that wants to have a problem with what we're saying and help us with engagement. This got a bunch of extra North Carolina eyes.
Never seen Connie or Dave defend you.
Never. This got a bunch of eyes on our clip from a North Carolina perspective. So thank you, Mrs. Cadeau. We appreciate that. I'm open to a discussion here. I'm open to being wrong with my hesitation. I have no issue on that. And
Open invite.
What's this?
Open invite. If you want to come on.
If you want to come on the show. But at the same time, don't step into the Thunderdome unless you have some facts here. Okay. Like, if we're doing a me versus Mrs. Cadeau on a debate on should there be concerns over a reclassifying point guard, I like my chances here, because her argument is, I love my son. That's great. My argument is this. Here's the most recent players that have reclassified. Imani Bates, Nafali Dante, Christian Lander, Marcus Howard, Kylan Boswell, Enoch Boache, Jonathan Aku, Addison Patterson, Michi Johnson, Kyra Lewis Jr., Tyrese Proctor, Joey Baker, Jalen Duren, Devin Askew, Justice Williams, Josh Primo, Chris Smith, Shaden Sharp, Carter Witt, Gigi Jackson, AJ Lawson, Ashton Hagans. There's probably 3 names that worked out on that list that are guards. Jalen Duren is holding a lot of weight here. Shaden Sharp ended up getting picked pretty well. But outside of Marcus Howard and Kyra Lewis, there's a lot of guards on this list that absolute disasters happened. And Tyrese Proctor was pretty good. He's a huge breakout candidate in year 2. Coincidentally, when he would have been a true freshman if he just waited. He also wasn't good for much of the early parts of last season. And my issue with reclassification is not reclassification across the board. I think, especially with big men, reclassifying makes a lot of sense a lot of times. When you're the elite of elite prospects, it's a good move. When you're being tasked to come in a program and be a 30-minute starting point guard on a team with expectations in this current era of college basketball, not 5 years ago, not when Marcus Howard came in and was playing against 20-year-olds. You're now playing in the ACC where half these teams are going to be starting 23-year-olds. Like, college basketball is getting older. It's not getting younger. And I'm not saying it can't work, but I'm saying that the point guard position in a role where you got to play 30 minutes and run the show for a team with Final Four expectations is the most difficult thing. It's the most difficult spot any player in the country is going to be tasked with next year. Literally, Elliot Cadeau has the toughest job out of any player in college basketball next season. And I like his game. He's a gifted passer. He's a historically great passing prospect. It's hard to go back 10 years and find someone you think has a better facilitation gene than Elliot Cadeau. But it might not translate because it's not just your physical gifts when you are a reclassifying 18-year-old to play college basketball against 23-year-olds in the COVID era. It's how do you process the game? It's can you manage personalities around you? Are you running the show? Are you getting the right guys' shots? And Lord knows this North Carolina team has had issues with guys being upset that they're not getting the ball when they deserve the ball. So, look, I like him. He's an upgrade from Caleb Love. I like North Carolina's chances because Love is gone and because Cadeau is in. I would like it way more if we could fast forward a year and Elliot Cadeau was his true freshman age at this point. That's all I'm saying. And I hope he proves me wrong. But again, if you are going to call this out and say, like, bookmarked this, let's revisit in 4 months, and your argument is just, I love my son, I like my chances in that argument.
You spit Thunderdome, Mrs. Cadeau.
I don't know why I went with the Thunderdome.
Yeah, I don't know why you went with that either. Let's throw that away immediately. The one thing I'll say to go against that is that I actually am on board with the whole reclassification thing that you just stated. Like, it's technically a proven, you have a large enough sample size to make that judgment that reclassification, especially with point guards, just doesn't work out well. That the history shows that. The one thing I think will make it easier on Cadeau is that, one, he's not a younger guy. He's a guy who should have been going into his freshman year. For whatever reason, he was in a class below. So he was basically moving into the class he was supposed to be in. I mean, he's going to be 19. I think he's already 19. He might be 20 by the end of his freshman year.
He's a reclassifying point guard that's going to be 20.
I don't know. I got to check that and make sure, check the facts on that. But I know that he's 19. Like, he's not he's like a normal freshman. That's what he is. So that combined with the fact that I think his passing ability with who is around him, I think will work really well. And I'm just obviously a big fan of his. I know you're a big fan of his too. So like if you made me make a decision on if Elliot Cadeau is going to have a successful freshman year and not fall into that tough year for freshman, reclassification point guards, I would bet on the other side of that. I think that his passing ability and the pieces around him are going to make it easier for him to separate. And he has a lot of older guys around him too, I think, to help him out. Like Cormac, obviously older, Mondo older, RJ Davis older, Harrison Ingram older, has a lot of older pieces around them. It's just how Hubert puts it all together and how they put it all together as a team.
Was Kyra Lewis a point guard?
Yeah, I
You count him
consider
a
him a
point
point
guard in
guard. Yes.
college, and I
Yeah.
know like he's sort of. I feel like he's taken on that role in the NBA, but he was a point guard at his time in college to you.
Yeah.
Okay, I was going to push back on that a little, but I'll let it slide. Okay, point guards from my list. Reclassification grades. Christian Lander, fail. Marcus.
Okay, but also I'm gonna give a thumbs up to these guys were young when they came into college. Like Christian Lander was a 17-year-old freshman. He should have been a senior in high school.
Christian Lander failed. Marcus Howard's success, but this was 10 years ago. Again, when you're not playing 24-year-olds. Kylan Boswell, we're giving that a thumbs up.
I'm saying he was a guy who was younger and reclassed up. Like he should have been a senior in high school.
Boswell, I know he came on late again, as most of these guys do, because looky, oh my God, they're coming out when they should have been freshmen instead of when they should have been at prom. Like he was bad for the first 2 months of the season. Michi Johnson, fail. Kyra Lewis, win. Tyrese Proctor, to be determined, I guess, win. But if he's good in year 2, does that really count as a reclass?
Yeah, I guess I'll lean win.
Devin Askew, horrible. Carter Witt, horrible. Ashton Hagens, fail. Okay, like so we've got 2.5 wins out of 9 there at the point guard position. So I guess shouldn't have said it has never happened. It rarely happens. Okay, Mrs. Cadeau, it rarely happens. Your son is special. He is. Nobody's denying that. We'll see if he delivers on his promise to do what most reclassification point guards cannot do. Thanks for being in our mentions. And hello, North Carolina fans. If you're watching this video somehow, you should come back for Riley Fridays, where Riley Davis joins the show, and he's a huge North Carolina fan.